Hey everyone,
Hi.
we are back and live for session number 4 of our Procreate live event. It's been so much fun so far, and I'm thrilled to welcome my good friend Flo for session number 4. How are you, Flo?
Hi. Fine. Thank you.
I think this
How
is going
about
to
you?
be. I'm good as well. And I've been saying to all of the very kind and talented speakers throughout this whole week, just a big thank you from our whole team for being part of this. We know it's bringing a lot of people at home who are isolated, a lot of calmness and learning and just positivity. So thank you for being part of that.
That's my pleasure.
And hello to everyone in the comments as well. Keep letting us know where you're tuning in from. I think I saw a comment from Sophie who said she has not missed a single session so far. And of course, we've got even more sessions tomorrow. So we hope that everyone's getting a ton of value from them. Flo, what are you going to be sharing with us today?
I will be painting a realistic looking eye today.
I love it. And even though I watched it back, I was not here for your last community hangout. So I'm really excited to get to see this live.
Yeah, I'm going to do my best.
Amazing. So take it away. I think everyone is,
Yeah.
Everyone's dying to draw with you at home. I'm sure there's going to be some people following along as well.
Yeah. Let me share my screen then.
Perfect. Oh, look at this. We've got people from all over as well. We've got Kansas, Sydney, Australia, Brazil. And before we jump in, because there are so many people here live right now, if anyone is having any video or audio issues or lag or anything like that, do click on audio and video help just at the bottom left. And if that doesn't work, just try giving it a refresh on your browser page. And that normally irons things out. And we always get a lot of questions as well. Will this be available to watch back later at your own pace? And it definitely will. There's going to be a replay right here. We're also going to have the video edited down and on our YouTube channel. So if you miss anything, or if your internet is personally running a little bit slow, I promise you'll be able to watch it back at your leisure.
Yay. All right, let's get started. I'll grab a reference photo first. You can just drag up from the bottom of your screen to grab your reference. There we have the eye that I'll be painting today. And first, I would like to make a sketch. And I'm going to use my Sketch It brush from the illustration brush pack. But you can use any brush for sketching, really. But this is my favorite. And I'll start with a circle. That's the eyeball. And then I'll start adding the eyelids.
Flo, my favorite thing in the world to draw is eyes. And so I'm personally going to be taking a lot of tips from today.
Well, you can watch this video later. You can watch it again at your leisure.
Yeah, I might have to go through it a few times.
Follow it. So these eyelids are wrapped around that round eyeball. We have, what's this part called, really? Near the tear duct.
Yeah.
I don't even know the Dutch name for it.
No, I feel like there's a fancy name for it. Let's go with tear duct, though.
Yeah. Right, and then we have that upper eyelid that curves above that eyeball.
And is this currently just the default Procreate brushes at this point for the sketch?
No, I'm using one of my own brushes here.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also go with the HB pencil that's already in Procreate. That's also a great brush for sketching.
Perfect.
So just going for a rough sketch before I lay down any colors. Well, it might not be entirely accurate or an exact copy of the reference photo because I'm trying to do some magic here in half an hour to 45 minutes. But I'll do my best.
Don't worry, it's about the beauty of the outcome, isn't it? Not necessarily the reference.
Yeah, well, we're not sure about the outcome yet, of course. Working under pressure here. All right, well,
Don't
this
worry,
is enough
you're
for
doing
a
great.
sketch. I'm going to make a new layer underneath my sketch so I can drop in some color. And first I'll just fill my canvas with a base color. Going for a bit of an orange, something like this. And then I can just check next to my reference. I can see that it needs to go a bit lighter and a little bit more towards the reds. Perhaps something like that. And then I'll go for my all-time favorite brush, my basic flow brush. Of course, it has my name because it's my favorite brush. And then I'll just drop in some darker colors. I'll turn down the opacity of my sketch a little bit. And I'll just roughly look at the shadow areas. You can see some shadow above that upper eyelid and near that bulge. Yeah, just under that lower eyelid.
Oh, people are saying in the chat, this is wonderful to watch.
Thank you. That's good to hear.
Very therapeutic as well. We just said that on Lisa's session before yours. Watching someone draw like this is so relaxing.
That's nice to hear. And I can see that the pink part of the eye is called, what's it, caruncle? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I can see Nikki saying that.
Oh, is that Nikki? Okay. Yeah, the caruncle. There you go. You learn something new every day.
Yeah. Right, now I'll just add some brown to that iris.
Oh, and Mia says, hello, Flo, I'm one of your master students. Thank you so much for bringing this event to my attention. I haven't missed a session yet.
Oh, that's great. Hi, Mia. Thanks for joining. And I'll lay down some color for the white of the eye, which actually isn't white. I always go for a grayish color there, grayish, bluish.
My art teacher at school always said never use 100% white or black.
Yeah, that's right. Because once you start using white, you can't go any lighter. So I always try to start out pretty dark, and then you can always go lighter. And it's the same with black. Once something's black, you can't go any darker. So you don't have any space, any room for adjustments. And black and white are also pretty boring. You want some color in your shadows and in your highlights.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't know about things like cold and warm colors. So you can get a gray that is actually quite warm, or you can get one that's very cold.
Yeah, usually for the shadows, I go for a pretty cold color. Usually some blues in the shadow and add some warmer highlights, but you can also do the reverse and go for some cooler highlights and some warmer shadow colors.
And just to clarify, Flo, are you doing these different parts on different layers, or
no?
Just one layer?
All the color is just on one layer. I have one layer for the sketch, and underneath that, I just have my layer with all the color on it.
Okay.
Because if you want to use the smudge tool and blend, you can only blend the colors that are on the same layer. So that's why I prefer working on just one layer, so I can blend everything and smudge everything around on my canvas. I'll actually start doing that right now. I'll grab the smudge tool and use my standard blender, which is in my basic set, and start smudging everything a little bit, softening these colors.
Do you often use the eyedropper tool, or do you just do it by eye? Excuse the pun.
Oh yeah. You mean from a reference photo? If I use the eyedropper to get the correct color, I do it by eye.
Okay.
But often the first color that I lay down, that's often not, well, the color that I eventually want. I just pick something, and then it's easier to go a little warmer, a little bit cooler. It's easier to judge your color and to think, well, maybe I need a little bit, well, go towards yellow or go towards green, and just slightly tweak it that way.
Perfect. It's amazing how even things like the lack of highlights on the pupil make it look like a sleepy eye right now.
Yeah.
And then some life is going to come into it.
I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger, I think. I'll just select my layers. There. So everyone can see it properly. I'll start turning down the opacity of the sketch layer a bit more. And go back here. Now I'm going to work on the shadow areas a bit more with my darken line brush. And I use this brush for, well, dark lines actually. The name says it. Yeah. I'll work on these dark creases right here, for example.
And if anyone is wondering, the brushes that are being used within the session, they are available in Flo's store at Design Cuts. So we've linked that up below this live stream. It's the shiny green button. And there's all kinds of amazing brushes in there, skin textures, and lots of things that we're going to be using in this live session.
You can see that this area just underneath that upper eyelid, that's very dark. Especially on the iris.
And Jackie says, I could seriously watch this all day.
Well, I always loved watching Bob Ross when I was younger. When I was in college, I just watched his TV show every day.
He was so relaxing.
That was really relaxing.
I used to love Bob Ross too. Yeah, the happy, magical little clouds.
And I didn't even paint back then. I just enjoyed watching it.
Maybe that's what inspired you to start.
Yeah, I don't know. I always loved drawing and painting, but well, when I was at university, I just didn't have the time.
Yeah, I must admit, I love Procreate, but I will only ever play around on the work iPad that we have here at Design Cuts, because if I got one personally, all of my time would go in that. I'd have no time to run Design Cuts.
I like to jump back to the smudge tool every once in a while to smooth everything a little bit.
So just a kind of subtle smoothing, right?
Yeah. Let me also put in some highlights. I'll use a lighter line brush for that.
Whenever I watch your videos, I have to say the highlights just seem to add so much realism.
Yeah.
More than anything else, just a few little marks there, and
Yeah.
it comes to life.
That's when the magic happens.
Yeah, like that tear duct now. That looks practically
Yeah.
done.
Always make sure that you keep an eye on that, well, that ridge here, that lower eyelid, that you can see that, well, the top plane of that eyelid, that it has volume. Same goes for that upper eyelid. Now I can turn off the sketch layer now, and let's add a little bit of detail to the iris. I'm going to do that on a new layer and go to my eye brush set for some super easy iris brushes that you can use to add some texture and some detail.
That's a handy shortcut.
Yeah, if you don't have time, like if you're under pressure, like right now, when you have to make an eye in a half an hour, 45 minutes, these are pretty handy.
How long would you normally spend on a piece like this?
Well, probably 30 to 45 minutes, but then I'd feel less pressure and I wouldn't have to think while doing it. So
don't feel any pressure from our side. And also, Flo, if you go a little bit long today, that's completely fine. You know, there's no other sessions until tomorrow.
yeah, that's
This is the
great.
final
We
one.
can just
So
spend the entire evening. I'll just order some food from downstairs.
I think that would make a lot of people happy. So again, if you're wondering where to get the iris brushes or any of the brushes from today's live stream, do check out Flo's Design Cut store, which is the green button below this live stream. And I'm sure our team can put some links in the chat as well. But there's tons of incredible brush sets in there. Flo, is it possible to show the brush tip or anything like that, or is that
Well,
not an option?
it should be visible. It's just really small. I have that turned on, but I don't know. Sometimes it's just not very visible.
Don't worry, we can still see the magic coming to life. We can see a lot of people soaking up the demonstration here. Also a few beginners as well asking about some of the the more basic tools of Procreate. I would say if you're getting lost at all in some of the Procreate tools, also be sure to check out Ian Barnard's session tomorrow. He's going to talk through some of the more basics, shortcuts, and tips and tricks like that. but we've got a lot of artists tuning in, Flo, who are just loving the knowledge you're sharing, and we even have some hand letterers who are, you know,
Oh, really?
now looking how they can develop their artistic talents.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, now I'm just using my multiply brush to add some more shadow, especially here at the top of that eyeball, because the light is coming from above, or actually when I look at the highlights in the eye, the photographer has placed a lot of light boxes around this this model, but usually light is coming from above, so the top part of the eyeball, that'll be in shadow.
Oh yeah, that is what some of those highlights are, right? That is the light boxes reflecting.
Yeah, I can see a beauty dish and some soft boxes. I think there are even 3 soft boxes. And that round thing, that's a beauty dish. And those iris brushes, they really just lay a base for your iris. But of course, I'd always recommend to paint on top of it to make it look less artificial and more painterly, more you.
Yep. Yeah, it's really a guide, isn't it? Just to set a foundation for it.
Yeah, it's an easy foundation to build on.
Oh, Christina says my son recently became interested in drawing and art again, so he's watching this and loving it. Hey, Christina's son. Let us know your son's name, and we give him a shout out. Yeah, I think everyone's kids could learn a lot from this session.
Well, my kids love playing with Procreate as well. Whenever I make new brushes, they ask, "Oh, please, can I play with your brushes? Can I check them out?"
What were you telling me the other day, Flo, when we chatted about your kids? They set up this thing in your house?
Yeah, a party last Saturday. They sent me an invitation to a living room party, and well, we really should be properly dressed. So I made this crazy combination of clothes and a weird hat. But yeah, we had a great party. They arranged the music and some snacks. That was really cool.
And how old are they again?
8 and 10.
8 and 10. And the design of the invitation, I think, was legit better than something that I could make. It was very cute there.
Yeah, it was really cute. Yeah, they're kind of enjoying the whole quarantine life. They're pretty relaxed about it.
Renaissance Girl says my son Pierce is watching too, and he's loving it. So hey Pierce.
Hey Pierce.
I hope this inspires you to keep on drawing. Let us know as well while you're watching along. Where are you watching from? Are you curled up on the sofa with a mug of hot chocolate? Are you out on your balcony if you're somewhere a bit warmer, out in the garden? Let us know where you're tuning in from.
I'm going to use my overlay brush to add a little bit of warmth to the eye. It's a really easy way to adjust your colors a little bit. If they got a little bit muddy, you could just go over it.
We definitely can see the brush there. I think for anyone that's been asking about seeing the brush tip, I think it literally has been, it's been there, but it's been so small, right? For a lot of
it's
these
been really small. Yeah,
it's been hard to see. Oh, look at this. We've got someone on the staircase of their house is watching. Doesn't sound very comfortable, but
no.
we're glad that you could join us. My sofa in Alabama.
That sounds better. Sofa.
For the dining room table, taking a break from working on the couch as well. In my bed, Carissa says, home studio, kitchen table. My apartment in Charlotte. This is so great, guys. In my craft room. But I should have been on the couch with coffee. It's not too late, Ria. Get to the couch, make yourself a coffee. I think you deserve it. Oh, we've got.
I think this is a nice.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Flo, please.
No, I think it's a nice time to start adding the eyelashes, and that's one thing that I do like to put on a separate layer, so that I can, once I have my eyelashes, I can start painting underneath them again. So I do make a new layer for that, and I will use my eyelashes brush. And
so again, we're not going 100% black there, are we? We're going like a very dark. Was that a red?
Yeah,
very dark red.
Yeah, brown. Yeah, very dark red, brownish color. And well, placement is really key with eyelashes. So don't go adding them like here near that white of the eye.
Yeah.
But they're on. Well, they grow on that outside of that ridge.
Oh, those brushes are great, though.
Yeah, I love this brush for eyelashes.
Yeah, it looks like a time saver. It can be so easy to mess up eyelashes, too. It's something I've struggled with. They can look a bit fake, or like you got spiders on your eyes or something.
Yeah. Oh, and these lower eyelashes, they always tend to clump together a little bit. And I don't just go from right to left making this row, but I like to work all over the eye and filling gaps with more lashes. First, I try to find a little balance.
We've got a few people asking about the brushes. Do check out the link, which our team can add to the chat, but also below this live stream. You've got many of Flo's fantastic brushes available as part of this Procreate Live event happening all week at Design Cuts. Andrew also asks, this really varies based on your home connection, but for some people, your connection might mean it's blurry at points and that kind of thing, because there's so many people watching live. For the replay on our YouTube, it will be super clean video and all edited, so you can watch it back at your own leisure. And also you can slow it down on YouTube, which is great. So definitely give us a follow on YouTube, and do check out Flo's YouTube as well, which is incredible. How many subscribers have you got now?
We hit 100K yesterday.
You did. Congratulations. That's
Thank
so
you.
Cool.
Yeah, I imagined it would be a bit different. Like, well,
yeah,
it's celebrating right now. But I'm still very happy and very grateful.
Ask your kids to throw another living room party to celebrate.
Yeah, next weekend we'll just have another party. Need to order some stuff though.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit of a social hotspot. I'm jealous. Well, you can always have drinks through a live stream, right? You had a drink with a friend? I did. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, you told me about that.
I was going to say I'm going crazy.
Such a great idea.
Yeah, I did FaceTime beers with my best friend at the weekend.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I also heard about people doing board games through FaceTime.
Yeah, well, there's I forget the name, but there's a website that's getting very popular, where you can pick lots of board games and play online against your friends. If
Oh,
anyone
really?
knows, yeah, put it in the chat if anyone knows. And of course, if you're looking to pass the time, there's some Procreate live events happening all week as well.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Sounds really cool. Yeah, there's no need to get bored once you have Procreate.
Seriously.
I still find myself just not having enough time in each day.
What, to
I want to
draw as
do
much as you
more.
want?
Yeah.
I think
And do
that's
other
called
stuff.
that's
There's
called
so
being
many fun things to
passionate, I think.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's enough time to pick up my Just Dance career, of course. That's my daily routine.
Yeah, you can join us in
Doing
a
Just
couple of
Dance.
weeks. Flo and I are going to be having a dance off live on air.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be fun. All right, let me move to the upper eyelashes. These are a bit thicker than the lower ones. I'll make my brush a little bit bigger. And here also they start growing like there and not near that eyeball. So be sure to place them in, well, the correct place. It's really important when trying to draw realistic looking eyelashes.
I can't get over how realistic the brush looks.
Yeah, I just love this brush. It took me quite some time to figure everything out and get the perfect lashes brush. But now I always use it for lashes.
It's when the painting starts looking better than the original.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we have a few people shouting out the amazing sale that's on right now. So as well as Flo's incredible brushes, we do have 50 of our most popular available for 50% off. And then you do get a further saving as you add more brushes to your cart, something you don't get anywhere else. So people are taking full advantage, and we keep getting sent screenshots of people with all the incredible brushes they're snapping up at the minute. And it's been so
That's
cool to
great.
see. Yeah, it's really, really cool to see the joy people are getting from their new brushes.
Yeah, it's so much fun trying out new brushes from other artists as well. I could play around all day with brushes, just looking at what they do. Great.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, we geek out every single day about this stuff, not just brushes, but fonts and illustrations.
Yeah.
It's quite a fun company to be part of. And this is something as well that I've been having a lot of conversations about, but I feel so lucky that we're all creatives right now, because there's so many people
Definitely.
out there who you know perhaps can't work as usual, and the fact that we can, you know, in most cases do what we do from home, I feel very lucky.
Yeah, me too. Definitely.
It's a very full looking lash now. I like
it. This model sure has a lot of lashes. Crazy. So now I can just go back to my skin layer with all the color and paint on that layer again. So now I really want to work on the skin texture, add more highlights. So let me grab my skin blender. I'm using a smudge tool and I use my skin blender, which is part of one of my skin brush sets. And this blender, it blends, but at the same time, it adds a little bit of skin texture. It's very subtle.
Oh, but the subtle touches really do add up, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Nose to Go just asked about the discounts at the minute. So it is 50% on all the brushes that are available, our most popular brushes as part of this event. You get 50% on all of them, but you get a further discount if you're adding up multiple brushes to your cart, which is something people absolutely love.
I'm going to use my grain lighten brush, and I really love using this. It's a very subtle brush. I love using this to add light areas to skin. You can just use the local color, your local skin color, and then paint on top on the same layer on which the color is, and then it'll lighten up and add a subtle grain.
This is looking so good, Flo.
Thank you. And the grain darken brush works the same way, but then, well, it adds a darker grain. So you can darken up areas a little bit, adding some subtle grain at the same time.
I actually, we do have questions coming in for the end of this session, but I have a question, Flo, as someone who, I loved art at school. I don't have as much time for it now, but I do really like drawing. And whenever I did portraits, I could draw a pretty realistic looking eye and lips and so on. But when I put them all together to form a face, it would often not quite work, and it ended up looking a bit like Mr. Potato Head or something because they would all look, a bit disconnected. Is there a way that you really get the anatomy of the face down very well?
Well, yeah, it's just really a matter of a lot of practice. It's great that you manage to get all the individual facial features. That's a great start when you want to paint faces. I'd really recommend practicing each facial part. And once you put them together, well, it's like an entirely new thing that you're learning. So you'll have to.
It's really hard.
Just practice a lot. Yeah, it's really hard. But just be sure to use reference. I think that some people think that you should be learning to draw without reference, but the start is to just draw with reference. Look up photos or grab a mirror and study your face and just use reference and learn from that. And well, even tracing. I know a lot of people think tracing is cheating, but when you use it as an exercise, you really can learn from it. If you trace a picture, your mind will remember what it just created and what it traced. So it's
muscle memory.
Eventually, it's muscle memory. Of course, eventually you want to be able to draw, sketch, paint a face yourself. But as a start, when I was a kid, I started drawing over the Lion King drawings. Like I had this book with the art of the Lion King, and I would just trace it, and still I learned from it. And after a while, I could draw Simba by myself.
So you might enjoy this, Flo, but we actually had Aaron Blaze on our podcast.
Oh, really? Oh, I love
Uh,
him.
He's so great, and
Yeah.
he drew a lot of the characters in The Lion King.
Yeah, I know.
And he actually based is it Nali, the cub? Yeah. And
Yeah.
he based her eyes on his baby daughter's eyes.
Oh,
So
that's so
she's kind
sweet.
of forever immortalized. And honestly, one of my
Whoa.
favorite podcast episodes we've ever had. He was such an interesting guy, just about,
Yeah.
the team of them working round the clock at Disney back in the day to create all these seminal movies that we cherish so much now.
Yeah, I had this book. I bought it in Disneyland Paris when I think I was 8 or 9 years old, and I really cherished that book. And I read it from front to back and studied all the images. And I said, "Whoa, I want to work at Disney. This is what I want. This is just awesome." Never happened, but I still have that book, and it's just great. Now I'm gonna add some sparkles. But yeah, he's just such a relaxed guy, and
He's
he
like a
really does
modern day Bob
magic.
Ross.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What he does, I think, what he does, that's just magic. When he creates his characters and all those studies that he does with wolves and bears, and just the expression that he manages to capture in his characters, it's really, really great.
Although no
If
joke, I
any,
think.
if any of you don't know Aaron Blaise yet, you should really check him out.
Yeah, absolutely. But seriously, I think what we're watching here is magic too, Flo, because it's so impressive to me.
I'm just gonna grab my darken line brush to add some of these little creases, little wrinkles. Working on that canuncle.
Good memory.
Yeah, I can remember it. It reminded me of carbuncle, and that was, well, I thought it's kind of disgusting, carbuncle, but
Well, you're Dutch, aren't you, Flo?
yeah, I am.
And let me try and remember this. I had a Dutch friend at university, and she was saying her favorite word was knuffel, which means like cuddle.
Knuffel.
It means like cuddle, right? Or
Yeah,
hug.
yeah.
Yeah, it's such a nice sounding word.
Yeah, and cuddles are great.
Yes, they are. Are you planning to add the pupil highlight? Is that a final
Definitely.
step?
I was just thinking about that. I was thinking maybe I should add a highlight now. Let's do that. I'll do that on a
Great
separate
minds.
layer as well. Let me just grab my highlight brush, and I'll grab a very light blue. I'm not going to copy the highlight and the reference image exactly. I'm just going to make my own. You don't always have to follow references exactly. Of course, you can be creative with it. And now I'll add a mask to this layer with the highlight. And now I can go back and use that lashes brush again and make that reflection of these lashes.
That's pretty cool.
I also want to add a little bit more highlights to other parts of the eye. I'll use the light on line brush again. Here's a little highlight, for instance.
In the comments, people are saying that you're the bomb.com.
Not sure what that means, but thanks.
It means everyone thinks that you're awesome.
Well, thanks, everyone.
It's so clean. I've really noticed this about your work. It's very, very clean line work.
Well, thank you.
I think it adds a lot compared to if it was all super smudgy.
I always feel like it's a bit messy, but well, thank you. Yeah, well, that's a really an important thing when painting, that you keep an eye on what edges should be crisp and what edges should be a little bit well, softer. Like, for instance, the iris, that outer edge, that's not really a very crisp edge. It's a bit, when you look at your eye, it's a little bit fuzzy. In some areas, you will need a very crisp line. For instance, that shadow, that crease at the top of the eyelid, you should have a pretty hard line there. And but with beginners, I often see that everything is a little bit smudged or all the edges are a bit soft. But when you vary that softness and crispness of your edges, that really makes a difference if you pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm. It's such a great tip. And can you imagine looking at this if every line and every piece was as sharp as the eyelashes? It would look much more flat.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
it really feels with those sharp eyelashes like they're popping out the screen at you and have the depth, and then the softer elements feel like they're a bit further back.
Yeah. So it's really a lot about observing when drawing. It's not just about what your hand does and if your hand listens to your brain, but it's also about observational skills. And where do you see those soft, blurry edges, and where do you see crisp lines in your subject? As an artist, you have to be a bit like a scientist and just study and think about how everything works.
This is so stunning. It's even better than I expected. And yeah, Noah says 10 out of 10. You're an amazing artist. And he appreciates the slower approach and learning style. It is good. It's actually been very, very clear to follow along with.
Well, I'm happy to hear that.
It's like you've done this before.
Is what I do. Yeah, this is what I do at Patreon, actually. All my videos are a bit like this. I take it slow and just chat while painting, explaining my techniques and how you can approach painting, how you can observe.
Yeah, and we recommend everyone check out your Patreon as well. It's packed full of value. I can't stop staring at this, honestly. I love it.
Well, see, it's already almost 50 minutes. I'm too slow.
No, not at all. Like I say,
Yeah.
this is the final session for today, so please take your time. This is great.
Yeah, I do hear some kitchen sounds downstairs, so I think my dinner is almost ready. All right, just some final adjustments. Add a little bit more shadow here using the multiply brush. Do want to have some time left for the Q&A, of course.
Yes, I'm gonna have a look at the questions coming in now. There's a side question here from Lisa that says if she's adding stuff to her cart and Procreate packs to her cart, does it save it from day to day? And yes, it absolutely does, because Lisa's looking to use it a bit like a wish list. So you can actually add packs throughout the week if you want to grab them later on in the week. But do be aware that the discounts do expire on Friday, not on Sunday. So when we say the end of the week, it's the end of the working week. And do keep an eye on that. Lisa also asks, does the eyelash brush curve on its own, or do we need to
it doesn't
hold
curve.
control? Okay, so she says, do we need to hold control to smooth the curve?
Yeah, if you just use it, if I make a straight line, this is what it does. So it fades out by itself.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to make the curve yourself.
Awesome. And we have a few people asking about the eyebrow. I know we're not showing that today, but what brushes would you use to draw that?
I actually would also use the lashes brush probably. I just lay down the basic shape of the eyebrow with my basic flow brush, a little bit of a shadow, like the soft base color of that eyebrow, and then I'd go over it with the lashes brush. And for instance, I would use a smudge tool with maybe a hairbrush and go over it to soften everything, and then finally go over with the lashes brush again to add some final little hairs, little stray hairs to add more detail. But I found out that the lashes brush works great for eyebrow hairs as well.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think I should call the eye finished for now. I could tweak.
You could tweak forever, I'm sure.
For hours, yeah.
That is so incredible, though, Flo. Thank you so much, everyone who's tuned in live. We've got so many of you. Let's show some love for Flo and give it up. That was amazing. Thank you, Flo.
My pleasure.
There's always, when there's so many people tuned in live, there's always a bit of a delay on the comments. So watch them explode now with some love from everyone that's watched. But honestly, let's all give it up. There you go. Look at everyone. They're so glad to see everyone enjoying it. That's been one of my favorite sessions so far. Just the realism on that eye flow was incredible.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I hope everyone in the chat room enjoyed it as well.
I think they did, looking at all the lovely comments. So, Flo, again, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really proud of the community at the minute, the creative community, with everything going on, pulling together and looking out. So thank you just for bringing so much today.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that I can share my tutorials and my work, and that so many people enjoy following them, and people are discovering art, and that it's such a great way to relax, especially during these stressful times. It's like meditation when it doesn't even matter what you are drawing. It can be simple doodles or whatever, but it's just a great way to relax.
Yeah, I got my art books out yesterday. So I'm going to actually get back into drawing during this time.
Oh,
So
really?
I'm going to be watching a lot of your stuff, even if it's not on Procreate, because I don't have an iPad personally. I'm going to be learning from your techniques.
Oh, it's so cool. I'm looking forward to seeing your results then.
It's all right. You can judge me really hard if it's not very good.
Post them on Instagram.
Yeah, if you scroll back, I've got a few hidden away on there, actually.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm going to check it out right after this live stream.
But everyone, again, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been amazing. Day 2 of the Procreate Live event here at Design Cuts. We have our final day of speakers tomorrow, and we've got 3 incredible live sessions with Ian Barnard, Tila Cunningham, and Peggy Dean. Stay tuned for those, and the team can link it up in the chat right now, but be sure to go and register for all of those sessions so that you get notified when they go live. They're going to be value packed as well. I would also like to shout out Flo's Design Cut store, which you can click the green button below this live stream, as well as all of the incredible brushes that are now available for 50% off, which our team can link up in the chat. Go explore, grab whatever brushes take your fancy, and realize this is the absolute most affordable these brushes are probably ever going to be. And so now is a great time to stock up and get practicing. So thank you, Flo, again for joining us. You've been such a star today. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. I had fun.
It was really fun. And I know I'm throwing a lot of awesome stuff at you right now, but just a final shout out as well for anyone that's not aware. Every single Design Cuts community member gets 20 plus free products via our ever expanding bundle. And so the team can also link that up in the chat. We recommend taking advantage. A lot of people don't even know this thing exists, but it's our way of saying a huge thank you for you being the best community out there. Flo, thank you again. We'd love to have you back in the future for our regular weekly hangouts as well. I know you've been on before, but we got to have you back if you're down for that.
I will be back. I will be back.
Okay, sounds great. I'll talk to you really soon. Thank you again, and thank you everyone for tuning in live.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks,
we'll see you
everyone.
back here tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow for day 3. Bye, Flo.
Yay,
bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.